especially newer agents, might be afraid of them because they're too big. They're too big. They're too long. Oh, I can't remember all of that. I don't want to practice all of that. I don't want to sound too rehearsed. So I have a couple of simple scripts that I really like to use, and I wanted to share those with you today that sound very conversational, but they'll always help you advance a conversation with a lead or a client or a prospect. And that's the goal of every conversation you're having in real estate, is either to set an appointment or to advance the conversation, right? Those are the only two goals you have when you're doing your lead generation. I either want to set an appointment or I want to advance the relationship. So these are some things that you can use to do that, whether it's on an appointment, on a phone call, however whatever situation you're in. First of those is a really simple one, and you've probably been doing this one with your care calls, if you've been doing the care calls at all. And that's the simple, how are you? And shut up. Okay? So just, how are you? And then listen. Really listen. And ask questions. People want to know that, the old saying, people don't know how much you know, or don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You can best exhibit how much you care by listening. One of my favorite scripts for going on any kind of listing appointment, whether it's for a buyer or a seller, is just to sit down at the table and ask them, so tell me about your situation. So many agents go in and they just start doing a presentation. And then an hour later they go, I've ran out of things to say about me, so now tell me about you. But you can often really shorten your listing presentation by just asking a simple question. Tell me about your situation. Ask questions, find out what's important to them. And then when you actually do present your listing presentation, you're customizing it to what they said is important to them. You don't have to do a whole hour to hour and a half listing presentation. That was another class of Family Reunion that blew my mind years ago, was Tony DeCello. I saw on the schedule there was this class called the 30-minute listing presentation. And I was like, no way, 30 minutes? You can't do a listing presentation in 30 minutes. Yes, you can. I've done 20-minute, 15-minute listing presentations. You don't need to go over everything in your book. You don't need to sit there with slides and flip charts and everything else if it's not important to them. Find out what their big concern is. And it boils down to about 5 things. There's really about 5 things that come up when you ask people this question. And if you have the answers for those 5 things in your listing presentation, you can just flip to the one that's important to them. So tell me about your situation. Well, we're thinking about selling, but we're really worried about, how we're going to do this. How do you sell a house and buy a new one? How do you coordinate that whole thing? We don't want to have to stay in a hotel for 3 weeks or whatever. So you find out what their big concern is. And then after you've spoken with them for a while, ask them the probing types of questions. Why is that important to you? You know what the answer is. They don't want to spend 3 nights in a hotel room because it's going to cost them a couple $1,000s. You know what the answer to the question is, but just ask them. Ask them anyway, so that they voice it. And then they're really going to feel like you've listened to them. I've had clients tell me that they chose me over another agent because they felt like they really knew me. They didn't know anything about me. But I asked a lot of questions about them, so they felt like they knew me because I knew them. So that's been a key thing for me, is to ask a lot of questions. Like I said, how are you? When someone, again, brings up something like, well, we're concerned about, the timelines or whatever. So tell me about that. Why is that important to you? These are simple little 1-sentence scripts that can really help you to find out the information you need, whether it's now or later, to help them get what they want, whether that's selling a house or buying a house. And the other one is to reassure people with what decision they're making. So when they voice their concern about this or that, or, well, we're just not sure about the time or whatever, you can just bring that back and I just reassure people and just let them know. And the good news is I've helped a lot of people just like you who ... were also concerned about the timeline with selling their house and buying a new one. So this isn't something that hasn't come up before, and I'm sure we're going to be able to help you through this. So you know, that script is a pretty simple one. The way I write it out is ... And the good news is I've helped a lot of people just like you who ... And that one came from Diana Kokoska, the ultimate scripter. So we just use that when we really just need to reassure people and make them feel comfortable with the decision that they're making. Because sometimes they just need that. They need that reassurance as that they're doing the right thing. So those are just a couple of simple little ones that we like to use. And then one of the questions that a lot of agents have a hard time asking, but you really should be asking is when you're speaking with a prospect or a lead or a past client, when you think of real estate, who do you trust? If you had a question about real estate, who would you call? Who do you trust to call? And maybe the answer won't be you. If you ask the question enough, it won't be you all of the time. So then the follow-up question is, thank you for sharing that with me. So what do I have to do to earn that trust? What do I have to do to earn that position with you to be the person that you call when you have a question about real estate? So, you know, we need to ask questions sometimes we're not comfortable with and that we might not get the answer that we want, but it's important to ask it. And I think those types of open-ended conversations with people can be really helpful.
Hey, Joe,
did everybody write those down? Did everybody write those down? Those were like gold. I saw Lenore say
all stolen from other people. None of it's original.
Yes.
Well, you know, they stole it from somebody else, Joe. So
yeah,
I
get Diana credits John Maxwell all the time.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a quick role play around that.
Okay,
so,
can I make one quick point and then I'll let it go just to follow that up. The person who asks the questions controls the conversation. It's not about telling and selling. It's about asking the questions. Because when you're asking the questions, you're in control of the situation. When the client is asking all of the questions, you are losing. Because they're controlling the narrative. They're controlling the conversation. You have to be the one asking the questions. Because when you lose control of that, you know, now you're on the defensive. Now you're playing their game. And the other thing I love about scripts is that I always remind agents is we have to be good at our scripts because the clients are good at theirs. They've practiced theirs. What is their script? No, not now. I have to talk to my wife first.
Yes.
So they've practiced their scripts. They practice them all the time. So we have to know ours. Okay, Usha, you want to role play something?
Yes.
What do we want to do?
I'm a seller and I'm just, you know, I want to wait just right now. You know, so I'm just concerned about things. So I want to wait one more month before I put my home on the market.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Usha. It's Joe Corcoran calling from the Deb and Joe Corcoran group at Keller Williams. How are you today?
Oh my gosh, Joe, it's nice to hear from you. Doing well. You know, I think we're feeling a little bit better that things seem to be getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they are too. And it's going to feel much better going to yellow on Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been watching the news and all kinds of stuff and just so much going on. But, you know, we're just kind of hanging out. We're still not going out or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. You don't want to expose yourself if you don't have to.
No. But, you know, Bob, he still wants to kind of look at getting this home sold, but I just really am not, you know, I don't want to do anything about it yet. He wants to do stuff right away all the time. And I don't want to do any of that right now. So yeah. I just want to wait a little while, just see how things go.
I understand that. So what's your big concern, Usha?
You know, I just don't want to like have people in the house, you know, still, wanting to keep our home clean and just safe still. Yeah.
So your concern is over the safety of having strangers come in and out of your house. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I don't want them to get sick. I don't want to get sick myself,
Mhm.
So I thought maybe if we just wait another month. I know we talked about getting it on the market and stuff like that, but I just thought, maybe one more month.
Another month. That's, some people are choosing to do that, but a lot of the people that we're working with are seeing the value in getting the home on the market sooner because of the lack of inventory that we have in the market right now. I don't know if you're familiar with any of the numbers or not. You're probably not, because you don't follow this stuff. I do, because it's my business. This is my job. But in the Lehigh Valley, we have such a dearth of listings right now that there's only 1.4 months of inventory in our market right now. And let me explain what that means. If no other homes came on the market today, we would sell all of the available homes in a little over a month. Now, in a typical market, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7 months of inventory. So you remember your high school economics, right?
Oh, I was never that good at it. That's why my husband wants to do this, because he was always good at that.
Well, from our high school economics, we know that if we have a low supply and a high demand, and we have a high demand because of where interest rates are right now. I had a client get quoted 3% on a conventional 30-year loan the other day. I mean, they're giving money
Really?
away right now. So for the buyers, the demand is high, the inventory is low. So that means prices are up. So you could wait a month or two to put your home on the market, but it's going to have its most value in the next 30 days that I see it having at any time in the future. And I know you want to maximize your return so that when you guys get in your new place down in Florida, you have more equity to use down there. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it makes sense. That's probably why Bob told me that I should speak with you.
Plus, when we get together, Usha, we have a whole protocol that we've put together to protect people and keep everybody safe. And I can't wait to tell you about that and show you how it works. Your safety is our highest concern, in addition to helping you get the most for your home. So if it's okay, I'd like to make a time to come over and sit down with you and Bob and show you the safety precautions we're taking, and we want, so that you feel comfortable and that we're able to get you the most money for your home. Does that sound okay?
Yes, I know Bob had said that he wanted us to meet, but I was just concerned, so I'm glad you called me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
and we'll
yeah.
take all the safety precautions when I come over, of course, too. I'll have a mask. We'll sit at opposite ends of the table, and we'll be sure to be safe when we're together as well. So is Saturday morning okay? Around 10 o'clock or so?
Yeah, maybe we can sit outside because it's a nice day.
That'd be a great idea. I love your backyard, so we could sit outside and talk about everything.
Okay, that
All
would be
right,
great.
perfect. I'll see you then on Saturday morning.